Ladies and gents, welcome back to the Alternative Paper Review, the show in which we try to make sense of the senseless in this formerly United Kingdom and indeed light of your darkness. As a sort of bite-size daily paper review mini version of my podcast, I suppose, is what it's become, isn't it? Anyway, let's get into it. First up to The Sun this morning. Rupert Murdoch's The Sun, who lead with "Bog off Trump." Well, this is certainly a turnaround, isn't it? Because frequent and fervent viewers will know and understand that Rupert Murdoch was a sort of instrumental cog in the political success story of Donald Trump. You know, his Times, his The Sun here in London, but also over stateside in papers like the New York Post and, most pertinently, the entire Fox News network. All of them were essential to get Trump elected and indeed re-elected following his, grab him by the P word thing, the rape trial, the fraud trial, the campaign finance trial, the January the 6th insurrection, the hubris, the corruption, the crimes, all of it. Rupert Murdoch, instrumental. And now, front page of The Sun, guys, they lead with as $2.2 trillion has been wiped off the value of firms. Murdoch's The Sun are now saying, "Bog off, Trump," which is a sort of comedic reference, I suppose, to the 8,000 products that The Sun say we are considering putting reciprocal tariffs on. One of those products happens to be some sort of toilet seat. Now, you're going to hear a lot of coverage this morning about what went on yesterday off the back of the tariffs announcement by Donald Trump, which we touched on quite a lot of it yesterday. But now we're into the sort of, the ripple effects. Like, what does this mean for us, for pensions, for stocks, for not just like economies like our own, but struggling, second and third world economies that were hugely reliant on the American economy. I just want to draw your attention very quickly to the MAGA faithful and their reactions to this, because that's where this is going to get interesting and maybe even funny, dare I say, because some of them don't even know that this stuff is happening. Some of them they won't be aware of this at all. All they will know is that Donald Trump announced some tariffs and a few libs were upset about it. But if they get their news from Fox News, apparently Fox News are not even talking about the stock market. The stock market is like Fox News' bread and butter, isn't it? Normally, it's business, it's economy, it's small c conservatism. But whereas CNN and MSNBC and all of the other big American news networks, they're all talking about the calamity, the chaos that is Trump's tariffs. By all accounts, Fox News are not touching this story with a barge pole. So if you got your news from Fox, you would be living in an entirely different reality at the moment, news and information-wise. And it wouldn't be helped by the fact that reportedly, right, Fox News, whether they're talking about the weather or trans drag queens or whatever, they always have a stock market ticker in the bottom right of the screen. A bit like they have their Fox News logo, like all the time, right? And yesterday, a decision was made editorially to remove that stock market ticker. So even when they're not talking about it, you would still expect the Fox News stock market ticker to be telling you what the NASDAQ is doing, what the Dow Jones is doing, the value of the dollar. But even that is gone. So, yeah, if you're a small c conservative in the US, if you're a Republican, if you're a MAGA nut job, you will be existing and inhabiting in a totally different reality right now. But, I'm sorry to say this, putting your fingers in your ears and pretending that it's not happening, that doesn't mean that your reality gets to escape the consequences of actual objective reality, does it? Because all of those Fox News viewers, they will still all have 401k accounts. They'll still all have, pension funds, potentially stock portfolios, and they will still all be impacted by this in the same way as the libs. And we're already seeing narratives coming out. Like, if you don't watch Fox News, if you just get your news from the internet, we're already seeing narratives coming out of the MAGA right where they're saying shit like, just hold on. It's all part of Genius Donald's plan. It's so religious. It's so doctrine heavy, isn't it? He's got a plan for us. He does. The Donald moves in mysterious ways. It'll all come through. It is just like Brexit. Brexit benefits are just around the corner. We've just gotta hold on a bit longer, guys. I promise. Put the money in the basket and come back next week because Christ is coming. So there's a lot of that stuff going around on Facebook at the moment. There's also some narratives appearing that this is all Joe Biden's fault, that Joe Biden set some sort of trap that the Donald clumsily fell into. I mean, I've never quite understood how that works, like where Donald Trump is a business genius, but yet also hugely susceptible to all of these Democrat Party traps that they keep setting for him. Like, he's amazing, he's infallible, the guy is a genius, but he just can't seem to walk anywhere without stepping on a rake. Oh, God, there I go again. Equally, Sleepy Joe is so riddled with dementia he can't be trusted with the White House, and yet concurrently some sort of Machiavellian genius. So you got the, it's all part of Donald's plan. It's a trap that's set by Biden. It's necessary pain to get us back to an American manufacturing economy that will stimulate job growth, etc., etc. Heard a bit of that too. I actually think more likely is that this is either Donald Trump working for Putin, and what would make Putin happier than the economic destruction of Western liberal democracies? I mean, that'd be a pretty good Friday, I think, for old Vlad. Or I think it's even worse than that. It's more calculating, where they do this deliberately to savage the value of American assets. You know, American train companies, water companies, Meta, Google, whatever the corporation. Just imagine American assets as a collectible umbrella term, right? Well, if you savage the value of those assets significantly, that would make them hugely vulnerable to hawkish Russian or Chinese billionaires. Like, it's hooky, it's corrupt, it's sociopathic, it's anti-American. But honestly, I wouldn't rule it out, you know? You could have American billionaires or Russian or Chinese. They move all of their money out of the United States. You know, they buy up yen or euros or rubles. They let the value of American assets just go. And then when they are at an all-time low, then they convert it back to dollars and just buy the whole thing up. So yeah, I mean, I wouldn't rule that out. And I certainly hope that for all of those plastic patriot, America first, MAGA nut jobs in their red caps, I really hope that getting to wave a flag around is sufficient to help them heal from that wound, because basically pretty soon your entire country is going to be owned by foreign billionaires. Quickly to the Mirror now. Sentebale inquiry launched. Harry charity probe. Prince claims investigation will expose the blatant lies that we've all been listening to after a bitter public row. Harry's kept a bit of a silence of late, hasn't he? Whilst this lady who was heading up the charity has been suggesting that he and his wife sort of derailed a charity polo game, that he had asked her to speak up on behalf of his wife. Like, Meghan's not so bad, really. Come on, can you back her? Can you put out a statement saying that she's lovely? And now we've got these reports coming out. The crisis-hit charity set up by Prince Harry is being investigated by a watchdog. He welcomed the Charity Commission probe into Sentebale and blasted the blatant lies that have been put out recently. And the Daily Express carry the same story. Prince Harry responds as Charity Commission opens up a case on Sentebale. Heartbreaking to witness such blatant lies. Which is, it's sort of ironic reading that headline on the front page of the Daily Express. Like, I actually think this headline, this should be like a sort of cover line on top of the newsstand of your local 24-hour garage. Before anyone picks out like a right-wing tabloid out there, they should be forced to read a sort of like tagline above all of them that says, "It's heartbreaking to witness such blatant lies, guys." Like, here's what I hope has happened with this. It's like the editor or like the royal correspondent or whatever, they've given some guy like the story. They're like, "Here you go. Can you write the headline for this for tomorrow's morning edition?" And then I hope what happened is like the headline writer is actually a bit of a lefty or just a really fed up media type. And he's written this headline as a sort of self-referential, like, kicking the balls to his superiors. The Daily Express, it's heartbreaking to witness such blatant lies.
Prince Andrew's a nonce-burger.
Finally to the Times, who have this cheeky little number, a wasted generation of 500,000 who have never had a job, it says. Never had a job. Does that include the, 22, 23-year-olds who disappear on like a 5-year-long gap year? Does that include the Nepo babies who go in for like these unpaid internships? Like, it's not a job, is it? You're not earning money and getting taxed. Your dad just sorts out the train fare for you so you can rock up and give Nick Ferrari his deep-fried croissant twice a day. Because that's not a job. Do these figures include those? Does it include the swelling numbers of people who've been off sick since COVID, who contracted serious illness and continue to battle long COVID? Does it include those? Does it include those who were working, who were able to work from home in a hybrid working setup, but then thanks to the lampooning of papers like the Times and the Telegraph, their bosses were like, we're going to need you to come in 5 days a week, completely unnecessarily. We're going to need you to spend £400 a month on your train fare for absolutely no reason at all. And then they were like, well, I can't afford to actually work anymore. Like, between that and the childcare and my rent, like, frankly, commuting in for 45 minutes to work in Aldi for 8 hours a day, or the customer service job that I could have had the calls rerouted through to my mobile the way that I did in the pandemic. But no, now none of that is financially viable for me. So I'm sorry. Look, there's so many solutions you could actually look at rather than demonizing young people for not getting off their backsides. But no. And I suppose, if you do harbor any expectation of some sort of, leftist or maybe even communist approach to looking after the population and encouraging them back to work in a way that offers them, state-sponsored childcare and publicly funded social care and support structures. I suppose the only hope that you really have for that now is to wait until actually communist countries like China buy up all of our companies, buy up our entire country, in fact, and then roll out their own communist policy portfolios. I mean, I actually think that's where that is headed. Maybe the future isn't looking so bleak after all. Peace.